a couple of questions and they just reveal themselves. Hey, all gravity, ain't they above ground livid? So you already know what to do. Share, like, and subscribe. That's right, share, like, and subscribe, because I'm not like other YouTubers. I'm different. As you saw in the title of this upload, yeah, this person on the screen, Brandon Straka, he should have just walked away. Fam, I tell you, these grifters are hilarious. Now, for those who don't know who Brandon Straka is, Brandon Straka used to be on the left. Nothing wrong with that. But as it's customary with people on both sides of the political spectrum, at a certain point, you don't get enough traction. And the best way to get traction is to grift to the other side. And in Brandon's case, he did the majority grift. You go over to the Republicans, which he did leading up to the 2020 election. He started shilling for Trump and the Republicans. He did the walk away campaign, which everybody knows about that hashtag. You put out a video and he signal boosts you, or signal boosted you, we should say. He's done it for a lot of people. But conspicuously with Brandon, some of his most viewed videos within that hashtag happen to be black people, or those that people may see as black, melanated, whatever you want to call it. But that's not why we're here today. We're here today because Brandon ran into the buzzsaw that is yours truly. Now, I don't fancy myself this big content creator or this big social media personality, but being on X and seeing what people really think, I just like showing up, seeing it, and then deciding, should I say something or should I leave it alone? In this case, I'm glad I didn't leave it alone because he exposed himself. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to real time, and I'm going to show you an interaction I had with Brandon Straka recently. And we're going to point out some truths. We're going to point out some education. And if time permits, we're going to roast him a little bit. So let's get to real time. All right. So we're here in real time. Now, as you see on the screen, yours truly saw this post from Brandon Straka on May 28th. Wish me luck. Off to Virginia to kick off the Walkaway Restore Virginia tour. 11 events in 4 days. Outreach events speaking to Arabs, Indians, Sikhs, Hispanic Christians in their houses of worship. My message, united we can restore America to its greatness. Welcome to the Restoration Revolution. Okay. This seems like an innocuous post. And let's see what the engagement is. 62.7 thousand. Didn't get ratioed. Okay. I saw this post. I don't follow him. So I saw this post. And I said, okay, that's interesting. You're going to Virginia. Because, of course, Virginia is going to be a very, very hotly contested contest come next year. And don't worry, we got something coming very special for old winsome Winnie Sears. I got a nice video coming for her. I saw this and I said, okay. Now, again, I didn't mean to put this up. I just wanted to ask a question. So my question was, no black churches, huh? Because again, Virginia has a lot of black churches, especially in the Richmond area. I just found it quite, I won't say alarming, but I found it quite confusing that you would go see all those different sects, but you won't go see black churches. And we know how they like to mix politics with the black church. But okay. He came back to me and said, what color are Muslims?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, first off, let's deal with that. nobody that you listed that you were going to go see are Muslim. Oh, you think I'm lying? I figured that. Well, let's help you, Brandon. Oh, wait, I screwed up. Cue the music. Because, of course, we're in the education part. Oh, Brandon doesn't understand what he wrote here. His first question to me is not only validated what I think of him, it also validated what I thought of him. And it also shows that these grifters, George W. Bush II has to pay for his crimes for No Child Left Behind. But here we go. First off, you said Muslims. Now, as we all know, Muslim, most people will see as a religion. Those that follow the will and testament of Islam, Allah. A lot of Arabs do not subscribe to Allah. There's a lot of Arab Christians. There's a lot of Arab Jews. Now, again, I don't know how it's set up in Virginia, but I felt as though we had to tell him that. Because when they see Arab, they automatically go to Islam. Okay. By the way, Arab is a cultural identifier and an ethnicity. Just figure we have to throw that in there. You said Indians. Most Indians are not Arab, right? And they're not Muslim. So I don't know. I know you see brown South Asians and you automatically assume Muslim. I get it. They have their 1,000 gods. There's even some Indian Christians as well. Okay. Sikhs. Now, that one was a little confusing for a lot of people. So we're going to show you really quickly who Sikhs are. We're going to show you real quick. They're an ethno-religious group who adhere to Sikhism, a religion that originated in the late 15th century in the Punjab region of the Indian subcontinent. So those aren't Muslims either. But, you know, according to Brandon, they are. But that's okay. And Hispanic Christians, that goes without saying. Even though they are Hispanic Muslims, but yeah. Okay. So he said, what color are Muslims? So I said, don't do that, sir. Now, a little bit of a typo. That's on me. I corrected it. We'll show you. I said, I legally said black churches. Muslims are multicultural in different colors. And then I corrected myself when I put literally and the star sign. Okay. Then he proceeded to write to me, are all black people the same color? And are black people not multicultural? Now, let's go back up to this. Where are black people in this? South Asian, South Asian, South Asian. Let's just say descendants of Spain. We'll just say that. I'll be respectful. Descendants of Spain. Okay. So tell me where black people are in this. Okay. So I said, no, Brandon, we're not all the same color. We're all different shades. It's a beautiful thing. We can go from the lightest of the light to the darkest of the dark, and we're all beautiful in our own way. And to his second question, I said, and yes, we are multicultural. Y'all are listening to someone whose people come from Jamaica. My wife's family, her mother's side comes from Trinidad. Her father's side comes from South Carolina. Multicultural. My daughter is multicultural. There's a lot of multicultural black people here. We have black Muslims. Yes, we do. I was just asking a question, and I get this. Okay. I also said, you do realize there's a difference between a church and a mosque, right? Since you want to bring up Muslims so bad. I guess Brandon doesn't understand in 2025 that a church is a house of Christian worship. You know, they talk from slave value, but that's neither here nor there. And a mosque, you pray 5 times a day. And you go to seek advice, not from a pastor, but to an imam. I'm sorry. Maybe Brandon didn't know that. You know, these right-wing grifters, basic knowledge to establish a foundation, too much work. You'd rather just get on a plane and take somebody's money and tell them in a house of worship how important it is to vote for a Democrat or Republican, instead of talking about religion and how it can edify your life. We all have priorities. And then here's Reparations Nation, friend of the channel, said 8 hours and he still hasn't responded. Because there's nothing to respond to. He got called out. He didn't like it. I don't play about black people. Now, the simplest thing and the simplest answer for him, and I wouldn't have been pissed if he'd have said this, was for him to say, on this go around, I'm not going to go look at black churches. But if the opportunity arises itself for me to go back to Virginia, I'm going to definitely do that. Why did I show you all this, family? Because I just want y'all to understand, even though y'all know this, but for someone who might stumble onto this video at this point, and yes, there will be chapters. This is how they view us, black people. We're only good for the 4th leg, the anchor leg of the race. They'll come see us when they need to make sure that their support is locked up and their candidate good. They'll send them to black people. Or they're on a little shaky ground, so they want to have a, what's that baseball term? Insurance run or two. So they come to us. They start throwing around the fish fries. They start throwing around the spades tournament. They start throwing around the big booty women to see how they're going to gauge how much black support they're going to get. Again, this man created a whole movement, and arguably, if you go look up the videos, his biggest videos came from black people who claimed that they were Democrat and liberal, and they walked away, like Candace Owens and Gothics and Amala Ekpanobi. Now we get to the roasting, because many of y'all might not know, but old Brandon was also caught up in January 6th. Oh, you don't believe me? I figured you didn't. Well, as you see on the screen, we are typing in Brandon Straka, January 6th. What have we found? We're going to change the past day. We'll go anytime. Look what we found. So according to the DuckDuckGo AI, it says Brandon Straka is a pro-Trump social media influencer who was convicted for his role in the January 6th Capitol riot, specifically for disorderly conduct. He has expressed regret about his actions, but maintained he did not believe he did anything wrong at the time. That's right. He went inside. Yes, he did. Allegedly. He was set to do 3 months. But something happened. Oh, yeah, something happened. He got 3 years. He thought he was going to do 3 months. Right? Here you go. CNN, put it up. Pro-Trump influencer sentenced 3 years of probation for his participation in the Capitol riot. So you were supposed to sit out and do 3 months. You got 3 years probation, which probably ended now. I wonder why you got probation. Probation. They say you turn state's evidence, sir. Yeah. See here? They say you cooperated with the Fibbies. So you couldn't walk away, to use a pun, you couldn't walk away and just go do your time. You walked away from all your integrity, allegedly, and talked to the FBI. And we supposed to take you serious. MAGA. Let me holler at y'all. So let's see. You get grifters in there. That comes with the territory. You get people who don't know the law. That's availing itself now, and it's quite funny. Now you're taking snitches. Oh, wait, I forgot in the middle. You're also taking supposedly people from the hood who conspicuously all their stories say that they grew up poor and then they got to MAGA and they saw how bad their life was. And now you're taking snitches. Huh. Interesting. So one more again, I just want y'all to understand, people like old Brandon is what's wrong with this country. He was able to monetize a grift. And then now he slips up, and instead of taking the L, it's everybody else's fault. He tried to do what about isms, but then fell into the bear trap. But then he falls into the bear trap and he still won't admit he wrong to get some help. He'd rather let his ankle get tore off before he admit that he was wrong. Which is fine. Not even upset at that. I just want y'all to understand what you're looking for out here. So Brandon, not only are you a snitch and a grifter, but you're grossly incompetent when it comes to understanding what ethnicities, races, religions, and colors of the human race entail. And with that, you should walk away and take the L. But anyway, y'all, hopefully you learned something. If you did, I done my job. If not, I try to be better next time. I'm going to get up out of here. You already know what to do. Share, like, and subscribe. That's right. Share, like, and subscribe because I'm not like other YouTubers. I'm different. Take care. Stay safe. I'm out.